It's 4th of July coming up soon. Don't blow up yourselves with fireworks this year. For crying out loud.
Yeah, you do it every year. Why? Because you're an idiot. Don't be an idiot.
You're listening to the Dan and Kody podcast, episode 174. This is the Dan and Kody podcast. This is it. Right here, Kody. You put on those headphones and you go to work.
Why are you yelling?
This is where our message is heard. It's time to get hyped. Say it with me.
What are we saying?
Dan and Kody.
Dan and Kody.
Dan and Kody.
Dan and Kody podcast.
Dan and Kody podcast.
Dan and Kody podcast.
Get some.
Dan and Kody podcast.
That's right, Dan. It's 175, actually.
Oh,
it's 175.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. I'm not mad at you. I just feel that as somebody that participates in this weekly, I would think that you know your shit. You obviously didn't this week.
I'm just still hung up on 174 because you accused me of not caring about being places on time. And I wanted to let you know.
You were early today.
I was early today because I care.
Because you care. You knew we had some guests.
That's right.
And that your time getting here is important because I hate to be the odd man out.
You even threw a curveball at me. I
did.
picked up pizza.
That's right.
And still had time to get here.
Yep.
And then our boys were outside, parked, ready, not trying to come in until it was 7 o'clock on the dot.
That's right. And last week we said we'd be having a couple guests on from the podcast. We have Adam and Neil from Nerds with Words. Gentlemen, thank you.
Thank you guys for having us out.
It was a pleasure to see both of you.
Oh,
It's a pleasure,
you guys
man.
are super sweet. And we've got somebody not on the microphone.
He shall not be named.
He is.
This is our minion. He does
our
our
gimp.
bidding. We
The
do not talk to
observer.
him. Don't look at him, actually.
Don't look him in the eyes.
We
Don't look him
shouldn't
in the
look at
eyes. No, that rubber ball cannot be removed from his mouth.
It's the great East Coast comic, Tom Crolius, is sitting there in the wings, getting our show stuff ready.
I mean-
write my set out.
He passed the retinal scan on the way in, but
The only thing that I questioned
Right.
was the super greasy hands that he had as he walked in.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, like Adam and Neil don't have greasy hands, but
he was sweating bullets.
Did you come in with greasy hands into this beautiful home? How dare you, dude?
wiping
This is not how we introduce you to
wiping
people.
it on these
Guys,
walls.
we have to apologize because you're forgetting where we're from.
Right.
Neil's from South Jersey garbage.
Oh, shit.
Tom's Philly garbage. I'm Staten Island garbage. We are trash people, so we
Wow.
apologize.
Tri-state area dump coming on into your house. How you guys feeling?
What's up?
Hey.
East Coast invasion.
I love it, man.
I love it too. Dan is East Coast garbage as well, but the nice thing is you guys don't smell as bad as Dan, so we're in a good place.
Try.
I'm from
man.
close to good old Baltimore, Maryland.
Well, don't forget, Staten Island was notorious for having a dump on it for its whole existence until like 20 years ago. So, you know,
Good.
Make sure people strong. That's what it does.
strong air quality there. I'm really raised on it.
You get to actually taste what sewage is like in your lungs. And they like dip it as a baby. They dip you in it.
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like,
yeah.
toughen them up,
It's like
dude.
Achilles. But you go into the dump. One summer, I was telling the story the other day, in summer '98.
Oh, he's getting into his dump stories, guys. Just sit back. It's going to be a while. He gets into
lived-
his dump stories.
I lived about 2 miles from the dump. Summer '98, it was so hot. The dump smelled so bad, it literally made like national news. Like CNN was like, Staten Island is like having a real problem with smells. Like, we get it. And everyone's like, you guys are garbage. We're like, yeah, no, we know.
Summer of dump fucking? That's
Yeah.
great, dude. The summer, everyone's trying to hook up, and everyone's like, dude, you got to get used to the smell. Just get by. It's not me. It's not me.
Smell of sex and dump.
You guys talk about this normally? Always? Or no?
Always. Actually, we start off every podcast talking about garbage. So, it works out. So you guys do Nerds with Words.
Yes.
And that comes out each week. Maybe give us a little information. Like, what is Nerds with Words?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, each week we usually bring on a guest. I think every week we have so far. We also have a lot of Patreon stuff that is pop culture based and movie based, all the way down to horror stuff, which we've done.
Right.
His comic book collections, which is extensive, that we've gone into. But each week, usually a guest, and we find out what they're nerdy about, how it's affected their life a lot of the time. And then we also cover like News Corner, which includes usually news, tech, around tech and nerddom and all that kind of stuff.
So they must be nerds. The
No.
guest must also
Well,
be a
it's
nerd.
funny because a lot of people question nerds, but we've had people who are just like, yeah, I'm super into like jazz. I don't know if that falls into what
Yeah.
nerds are thinking, but it's just
Right.
like, I always think about it just in terms of like how it affects your life. Like, where are you bringing it? Is it far enough into an obsession? It's an obsession for this guy. This guy is obsessed. He has to have it on everything.
Are you
Yeah.
into this embrace of the term nerd and geek?
Well, here's the thing, because Neil's not like I'm like a real hardcore nerd. Like Neil gets into stuff. Like, I'll get him into stuff. That's like our whole thing. It's like, I'm like, hey, check this out. He'd be like, okay, like I just showed him the Batman death in of a family where the Joker has his face ripped off. That whole
yeah.
So I was telling him about it. He's like, "Oh, I'd be into that." And like the artworks, I had the whole book. So I just gave it to him. So like, I just teach him stuff. But like, I've been a nerd since the fucking 90s.
Yeah,
and it was never cool.
But it's interesting how the word nerd has now become synonymous with like I enjoy something more than most.
See, this is where I disagree. Yeah, like I disagree with them using it in that, like people using it that way. I think. I think it has to be a little bit of obsession. It needs to be like you took something and then you have to have it.
You like
even
it.
more.
Yes,
So, like,
I agree.
He has buttons on his backpack as a 30-year-old, like an old, above 30-year-old man. You know what I'm saying?
And they're
I'm not
all
dissing
comic
that.
book-
I'm
they're
just
all
saying,
comic book characters.
and they're all comic book characters. Like he needs to have it on him, his person. He needs to take it from one place and bring it into his life every single day.
I mean,
And
look
he
at my
loves
leg
it.
tattoos alone. It's
No,
all
man. I
Spider-Man
love that
characters. I
Venom
mean,
and Spider-Man, and I dig that. Are you going to the midnight showing tonight?
I love that.
I gotta go with my dad when I get back home. I promised him.
My favorite is the Nala lion on your knee there. You're a big Lion King guy.
Oh yeah, and my Simba and my Baloo is from
And-
Jungle Book.
And Pumbaa on the inner knee. That's an interesting choice.
Yeah.
From afar, he could easily be like a gang. Like you're just like, what is that? What the hell's coming to anything? You're just like, oh, Disney collection,
Yeah.
Marvel, just all.
From afar, I'm like, biker? It's like, oh no, he's Boba Fett tattoo on his wrist. He's this fucking loser. It's like,
Nothing is threatening about this man.
yeah, no, not at all. But that's the thing about the show too, is like when we say nerd, we don't mean comic book. You could be nerdy about any, like if you're into music and that you obsess, like every day for 4 hours, I played guitar and then I did the show and I bombed. Like it's your story about your nerd obsession. It's not about, movies
You
or
nerd,
whatever.
you nerd out on it.
So when you ask if you have to be a nerd, like a comic book nerd, no. Anybody who listens to the show. And we also just bullshit about we talk about a lot about comedy too.
Sure. Yes.
Obviously, as us being comics.
Absolutely.
So comedy is a big part of the show too.
Yeah, well, we had Zilla Rocco on out of
Rapper,
Philadelphia, and then also didn't we have was it David D or Charles?
D. Lynch, a rapper
on?
from out here. Yeah, so we've had on authors like doctors. We've had on Dr. Charles Liu, Chuck Liu from Star Talk, Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah,
podcast.
no
way.
shit.
Yeah, twice he's on.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
We've had
man.
on Justin Wren and Kyle Bochniak from the UFC and Bellator.
Cool.
Yeah, so
that's
'cause,
awesome.
like, I'm an MMA guy, so like we had them on. So we have on everybody.
I used to work at a bar called Cabo Cantina as like a door guy, and they would always buy the fights.
Yeah,
This was
awesome.
like 2009 to like 2013.
Ooh, that's like
So-
the good years.
Yeah,
Of the UFC.
so like that's when I knew like what was going on, and I was like a big Anderson Silva
yeah, man.
fan.
Wait,
man.
hold on.
Forrest
You were a
Whitaker.
door guy?
Yeah.
No way, dude. No way. I'm lying for a moment, dude.
No?
We're trying to pull the wool over my ass.
Dude,
all right?
that's so funny because the door guy at the Liquid Zoo looks just like him.
Oh shit! Good,
right, dude.
that's
Look
my
at that.
cousin. That's
Yeah,
my
right?
cousin.
It's my cousin.
Tom's got your number, Dan.
Yeah.
Dude, we're going to start to, I think, do a little MMA live streaming. So when the fights come on, we're going to start watching them. Like what Rogan does, stealing his idea.
Right.
But
Yeah, but you got to make it better.
but the thing is, we're just going to do the shows that he does, so he can't do them.
There you go.
There you go. All
you
the
go.
good ones, like the John Jones. We might do that DC Stipe fight.
That's cool.
And,
so
yeah.
I always skip those Joe Rogans. So like he's talking through the fights.
So
or after they happen, he'll talk about
We were
it.
actually watching the Yankee Red Sox game yesterday in London, and we were listening to just fucking Joe Buck is the worst announcer of all time.
I can't stand it.
I really hope he gets throat cancer, but I hate Joe Buck.
That's very specific.
And I hate Joe Buck. He hates New York. He shits on the Yankees. He shits on the Giants. And I looked at them like, not for nothing. If this was more like a podcast format with just like friends hanging out, talking about the game, but also just kind of generally bullshitting and
Yeah.
I'd rather listen to that than Joe Buck go and the wind up and the pitch and it's a little outside. The umpire disagrees. The beautiful day. Shut the fuck. Who
And his little
cares?
Yeah.
smug attitude.
The only reason I hate Joe Buck is because Artie Lang tells me to hate Joe Buck.
That's true. You know why? Artie Lang's a Jersey guy, and he's a New York sports fan.
Yeah,
and all New York
that's the
sports
same
fans
reason.
hate Joe Buck.
Yeah.
'Cause this is what happens. If you watch a Yankee, he blows Boston hard, any Boston sports team.
Yeah.
And if you watch a Yankee
Adam
Red
is
Sox
sitting up
game-
in his seat now. He's lining up for this brutal slam.
Hey, easy, pal.
if you watch a Yankee Boston sport, Aaron Judge could hit a fucking 800-foot grand slam. He'll be like, oh, yeah, well, he lets it over the plate. Like, he'll like, give all the credit to, like...
That might be biased.
Just somebody
right.
messing up instead of somebody doing well.
But if Boston makes, like, a routine catch, like, in the outfield, like, amazing play. It's like, oh, really, was it? It was a routine fly ball. He had 40 seconds to catch it.
Keeping guys on it in the sun.
Do New York and Philly guys enjoy Stephen A. Smith?
Oh, I hate Stephen A. Smith.
Sometimes I enjoy him. Sometimes he's knowledgeable, but when he gets too mad, I just have to turn it off. I can't listen to him.
He's anti-marijuana, so I'm anti-Stephen A. Smith.
Guys on different lines.
The two guys I hate most in sports are Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith.
Skip Bayless is the worst.
He's a real POS.
Real terrible.
So who do you guys like?
Wilbon.
Wilbon, okay.
Well, he's a DC guy.
I like
Michael
Max
Wilbon.
Kellerman.
Max Kellerman's good. I don't know boxing that well, but
But he's good at other stuff too.
Yeah, he does. I mean, he's got a good overall knowledge. Whenever I've listened to him, I'm okay with Max.
You've got a
Kellerman.
good sports announcer voice.
Oh, that's very sweet of you.
Sweet.
I'm doing what I can, seeing if I can get over Max's gig. Take on
And Bill Simmons.
Sports.
Love Bill Simmons.
I hate Bill Simmons.
Oh, really?
Well, he's
He's
from
a Boston guy, and this guy fucking hates
Big
Boston.
Boston.
He's like
Fucking
a fucking
Boston.
Those fucking, Anyway,
Can't do it.
Yeah, I got cousins up there, and I went to a Yankee Boston game one time with a Yankee jersey, and I was 18 at the time, and grown men tried to fight me. I was like, guys,
Christ.
relax.
It's crazy,
Fucking
man.
sports.
Yeah. No, those guys. It's odd because there's a lot of fucking people from Boston and L.A.
Really?
Yeah.
Especially like in the industry that I'm like in the entertainment industry. A lot of people seem to be from Boston. Really? I was in an office where there were 20 people. 12 of them were from fucking Boston. Really? And it's the weirdest thing.
See that coming.
And when it comes to the sports thing, man, I don't know if Boston College has a great arts program or some kind of theater program that people go crazy for.
Well, arts.
Yeah.
Berkeley College of Music is in Boston.
Is it?
Yeah. So there's like they
Either
got
be a
the
fucking doctor or a singer.
musicians.
You be MIT, be a fucking engineer.
Right.
It's weird
Or
how
a piece of shit.
Yeah, it's weird how Boston has all these brilliant schools and just garbage community surrounding it. This is real white trash.
I have been counting every city we've shit on our podcast, and we cannot go anywhere. That's the problem.
That's right.
You gotta stop.
You're running out of
saying the
places.
places.
I think every week
We're
I
welcome
should-
in South Dakota. That's pretty much what. If I think about how many times you've been like, that place is a shithole. I'm like, what, dude? What are you doing?
I shit on Europe pretty daily, so we can never go there.
Did it today.
Did today
Yeah.
behind Europeans walking slowly. I was like, this continent's garbage. You got to go.
I thought bringing you guys on was going to help our podcast. This is a problem.
Yeah, because you guys don't realize it. We're really trying to tap into the European market.
Don't worry. They'll just hate us more, and they'll be like, these guys are cool, but Adam's a real piece of shit.
Direct all your hate to Nerds with Words, guys.
It's fine.
Please don't. No.
So you guys, how did you meet? Was it just comedy? Is that how
Yeah.
you guys met each other?
Yeah. Apparently, I didn't pay him. I basically insulted him the first time I saw him.
No, second
After
time.
the second time. Excuse me, I apologize. The first time, I think I didn't even look at you. Rightfully so. And after that, it was just love. After that, it was just like, right.
Because Neil has a little bit of a rep.
Yeah.
Tom, does he not? Shake your head,
not
yes or
good.
no?
His name's Tom.
Shut up.
Yeah, Tom. What's his rep, buddy?
I'm surprised he didn't insult you guys when he first came in here. I think LA's changed
would
him a
not-
lot. It's
I would
softened
not
him
do
up.
that.
Has it really? Everybody's been so nice. He's like, I don't even know how to respond.
He calls
Oh
me-
yeah, Cody, this is a nice house. Yeah, it's really fucking nice.
Got my voice
I mean,
down.
we're out on this. He's slipping into it. Again,
Damn, Cody. Yeah, this is a nice fucking house. Yeah, garbage lives here.
Nailed
He's got
it.
the voice down. Great.
Nailed it.
Voice sounds
Already.
perfect.
Neil, don't be upset.
we-
I'm not
upset.
upset. I do.
Our,
Trust me.
if you do a Neil impression, it has to be like this. Ready? This is Neil.
Yeah.
Oh, it's fucking garbage. Everything in this town is garbage. The city sucks. It's fucking garbage. That's it. That's Neil. So if you ever want to do a Neil, just do it like that.
Warming my heart.
But
right now.
Neil has a rep for people meet him, especially in comedy. Be like, I swear, the first impression is like, this guy's a fucking asshole. There's
Yeah.
something
Makes
about
sense.
him. So when the very first time I met Neil, he does a set, and I was like, oh, this guy's funny. I never seen him before. So I was like, oh, dude, I like your set. He's like, thanks, man. And then we just kind of went our own way.
Yeah.
Second time I see him, and he's outside vaping. He looks like a fucking 6'5" chimney, big idiot. So he's fucking vaping.
Sucking on a computer.
Looks like a shitty smog. Yeah, that's what it is. This fucking Betamax he carries around his pocket.
You're super sweet, Neil. Don't take anything.
So-
Dude, this is every day.
So he's outside, and I'm like, "Oh, hey, man, good to see you again." I'm like, "Hey, you're really funny." And this is what he does to me. And this is not a visual podcast, but
to paint
he looks down at me and he goes, like, he looks down his nose at me and goes, and like, there's a brush away wave almost
Wow.
with the vape in his
I don't
hand.
remember that.
I know you don't, but he did it, and just turned around, and I was like, "Do I have to hit this guy?" I was like, "Do I have to knock this guy out for disrespecting me?"
What flavor were you vaping? Unicorn
terrible.
milk? Unicorn milk?
Probably, no, it's probably something. Probably
Berries
something
and cream.
watermelon, maybe. I don't know, something real douchey.
Something
Nice.
watermelon,
A lot of
yeah,
douche
something
on
awful.
it, you know.
Just ripping
And then
clouds.
the third time I saw we were like in a group, and I was like, "Oh, this fucking asshole!" And then he was like himself, and I was like, "Oh, he's okay."
Oh, he was himself. Before it was like, fucking fans.
No, here's the thing.
Pretty much.
If you give him a compliment,
Yeah.
he immediately thinks you're being an asshole. Like he can't. Like we're fucking real close. We're one of the best friends of each other, right?
Yeah.
If I go, dude, that was a good set, he'd be like, "It was fuck you." Cool. Okay. So, what do you say to that? It's like you're a psychopath. What do you say?
It's got to be constructive. It's just like, you got to work harder, Neil.
There you go.
You're
So now he gets it.
unaccepting of love.
My fucking set was
much.
garbage.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
fucking garbage.
Yeah. Pretty much, yeah. I mean, I think from a young age, I was just always taught, like, whatever you're doing is really not good enough. So I've always just been someone who's like, "Oh, you thought that was a good set? Okay, I hate it. I want to burn down this building." So I don't know how you guys feel about it, but let's see anybody have matches. It's just the way it
When he
goes.
pushes you away, you gotta hug him.
He says they were best friends, and that is true. I love this guy. And yesterday, I told him, yesterday on a corner, I looked at him in the
Apple
eyes.
store.
Yeah, I looked him in the eyes and said, just to let you know, dude, we're not best friends. This is all business partners. So just looked him dead in the eyes and then, now get your horse teeth away from me.
I was so. By the way, I smoke a lot of weed. I was so high.
He's very high.
I even looked at Tom, and Tom was like, "That was really mean." And I was like, "Was he serious?" Dude, for
Gotta get to that.
hours,
Gotta
for
get to that
hours,
next
I was so high, and I was so hurt. I was like, "Was he serious?"
I don't know. If he's
It was so bad. Hours go by. We're walking around West Hollywood, and we're like alone. I went, "Hey, man, are you serious about what you said?" He's like, "No." I went, "All right, I gotta be honest with you, I was really upset."
I just knew it would hurt.
That's the thing. I'm really dead inside. Like you could, like he fat shamed me to losing 70 pounds.
welcome.
And I appreciate it. I'm 180 now. I was at my
260?
fattest. At my fattest, I was 265.
Wow, man. Congrats.
Thanks.
Yeah.
And then
You're welcome. I think
yeah.
is what-
And then
thank you
him and my
guys.
wife were like,
This is for
"You're
my
fucking a pig. Lose weight." And I was like,
Oh,
"Yeah."
look at you eat that pizza.
Yeah.
Good job.
tough
Cody
love.
knows your weakness. Let's get this guy some fucking bread. Burrito.
You do owe me a couple laps around the actual.
I know,
you got
I
to get
know.
around because that was too many slices.
I gotta look on camera for the podcast.
So
Right,
you're
right.
more motivated by tough love
Yes.
than positive reinforcement.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, but he made me lose
What's
weight.
wrong with
so-
you guys mentally?
Yeah, what's your guys hang up?
Hate myself. Think I'm garbage. A lot like you, Neil.
Nice.
I don't take compliments well, and I'm an up and down roller coaster. Dan,
I have a strange Funko addiction, and
The Funko's my favorite.
Dan's a collector.
Yeah.
He's a lot. He is a lot
Holy
like you.
shit, West Coast us.
yeah.
Yeah, you didn't pick up on
No,
that.
I'm fucking high now though. So West Coast us.
Yeah, I guess that's the case. We haven't had any doctors or astrophysicists on. Just a couple people.
Yeah, that's wrong with that, dude.
Yeah.
Couple comedians.
Yeah,
Shit,
you guys
guys.
have glasses and are pale. We have tattoos and have beards and we have Funko collections. Holy shit, it's crazy.
Cool.
It's like looking in the mirror.
This is
It's
nuts.
like you're a mirror. Oh,
Dude, somebody,
only you're staring back at me.
We should have you guys do
just let him go. just let him go. See where he breaks.
I do
See,
this every episode.
Neil already knows.
Yeah.
Just let it happen. Dan.
Oh, see, our version of that in our podcast is one of us will make a fucking terrible joke, and we'll all just be like, "You proud of that? You feel good? He got me last week. Oh, I was trying to just rip him, and it backfired.
That didn't go well.
And he just looked at me, silent. It was on his episode. Tom was on. And he's like, so Tom was like, "Oh, that hurts." When you get nothing, and then
Yeah.
fucking you're trying to make that good laugh on a podcast, and everybody looks at you like an asshole.
Gotta learn.
What?
Damn, I just need that satisfaction of people laughing. Probably shouldn't do a fucking podcast.
Yeah.
Because I don't hear my audience. That's what's kind of nice about a podcast too.
It's true. You don't know how bad you're doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Exactly. What's the validation? What do you get? Likes, loves, hugs, none of that.
Nothing.
losers.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
get nothing.
For the week.
This shit is thankless.
Well, it's awesome. We're super excited to continue the show with you guys. You guys know who Bob Lazar is?
Of course. Of course you know about it.
Okay, you know who Bob Lazar is. So you've obviously listened to
who's
the
Bob
Rogan's
Lazar?
podcast, Rogan podcast, yes?
Watch the documentary. Watch the Rogan podcast.
Yes.
Watch something our producer sent us. Our producer Evan. He sent me a fucking a YouTube thing from him that he did like an hour documentary
Okay.
in the '90s. Yeah, I'm all.
Who's
Okay.
Bob Lazar? Who's Bob Lazar?
Hold on.
Cody, who's Bob Lazar?
So to give you an idea who Bob Lazar is, so over the weekend I watched so Thursday I was riding with this guy I work with and he said, you need to find out who fucking Bob Lazar is. I said, yeah, okay, whatever. So I check out the documentary on Netflix. It's Bob Lazar and UFOs and something else, right?
Bob Lazar, Area 51, and Flying Saucers.
Yeah, and flying saucers. And then he said, you need to listen to the Joe Rogan
Yes.
podcast that's got Bob Lazar. So I watched the documentary.
Oh, he's the dude who got caught by Area 51.
He didn't really
Well,
get
he
caught.
got
So so essentially his backstory is this.
His wife
he
was
was
cheating
well, yes, that's kind of part of it. But essentially what it was is he worked at Los Alamos. He left there for a couple years, got a gig working for the federal government out at some secret facility. S4, 20 miles south of Area 51.
Right,
And
right,
there he worked on some kind of special like gravitation propulsion engine that was from an alien spacecraft that he got in and tried to reverse engineer. And he tells the whole story about how he was working and how the government has tried to hush him. And the guy that like did the documentary actually, and maybe you can agree with me on this, Adam, but that guy's a piece of garbage.
Okay.
Have you watched it? Have you seen a
I have
documentary?
seen-
Neil?
I think I've seen
I
all
want to
of
know
it.
why you think that, though.
The guy's a piece of garbage because he fucking seems like somebody that's trying to sell his wares on the street like a fucking... He's a scam artist.
Okay.
I don't trust anything he says. However, Bob Lazar
Right.
is telling the fucking truth.
Truth. Thank
But
you.
wait. If the government is trying to silence them, they're
You're
doing
gonna-
a
wait,
pretty
wait, wait,
bad
but
job.
before
of
you
it.
do this, before
'Cause
you
he's
do
on
this-
the Joe Rogan podcast.
Before you do this, I had your same fucking mentality when somebody told me this story. And I'm going to tell you what, Dan, you watch this fucking
Yes.
podcast, you're going to be like, there's no fucking aliens, no aliens. Then you watch the podcast,
Yep.
you're like, aliens, government's got them.
Yeah.
They're in a fucking mountain somewhere.
But if they wanted to kill him, they would kill him.
They tried
They would
twice.
silence
They
him.
shot at him twice.
Twice. That's it.
Those are like,
That's all.
I'll give
They
those
send
some
their B
iffies.
squad?
Okay,
I'll
fine.
give those some iffies. But even
Fine.
still, they have tried to like eliminate his history,
record, that's
his
true.
records. that is a factual situation.
Even the guys who run Los Alamos now will deny his existence. They had to pull a phone record book from Los Alamos in the 80s to show that he worked there. He was on the directory.
Right.
They still were like, nah, he doesn't work. He never worked there. And like,
Yeah,
well, we
they-
have the documentation. Like, nah.
he was in the Los Alamos. They do
Yep.
a monthly like flyer
Yep.
as a
Pictures
Los
are in there.
Alamos scientist or whatever the fuck his job was.
Bob Lazar.
Physicist Bob Lazar, and it shows his like Honda Civic
Yep.
with a fucking rocket engine
Yep.
attached to it.
It's in the paper.
It's in the fucking like Los Alamos thing.
I'll tell you what really sells it. Fuck all that. Like when you hear him talk about his job there, it's so specific. Like when he goes, I wasn't even allowed to go into the upper deck of this craft. That's shit.
Right.
Where you're like, that's fucking true. Because I used to be a cop in New York for a little bit, right? Like, so like there was even shit with there where it's like, they're like, you could go here, but you cannot go in there. It's like,
Right.
So when he said that, I was like, that sounds very like he's telling, because if he was lying,
weird specific,
right?
right.
Because if he was lying, he'd
Why
be
would
like,
you
I
just say
went
I
up
went
there and there were this up there, and then down there was these rails. It's like, no, he was like, I only saw this, and that was it. He's like, even Rogan was like trying to push him for like, well, what was up there? And he's like, I don't know. Right. He's like, I don't know.
Oh, I think I did listen to this, and he had
Yeah.
like a migraine the whole time. Or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, he had a migraine. And Neil, did you listen to this?
So the Joe Rogan thing? No, I didn't. I did see the documentary.
You did
I didn't
see-
watch the Joe Rogan.
So since you've seen both, Adam,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts? Like the Rogan podcast is much better than this documentary.
Of course. Of
Because
course.
you get a story from the beginning to the end, and
Right.
it actually answers questions that I had during the documentary,
Okay.
which was
Right.
like, okay, so he worked at Los Alamos, and then
Right.
how the fuck did he get over at the government?
Right.
He tells that story.
Right.
Because Rogan was asking questions that I had in my head. the whole time. I'm like, that's good. That's what I wanted to hear. Like, like good job, bro.
The one thing, and I'm curious, what's the one thing you wanted to know? Is there one thing that really stood out to you that you're like, why the fuck are we avoiding this?
No, they asked it, but he didn't know the answers to it. When it was like, well, where are they from? What is it? He's like, I just kind of know. I heard where they're from, but he didn't care about that.
Yeah,
which was annoying.
Yeah.
Because like I get the tech part is totally important for humanity and all that. Like we shouldn't be hiding it. I get that, but weapons, whatever, fine. But you don't the fact that exists and they came from a different whatever the fuck
universe,
solar system, whatever that doesn't fascinate you. Also,
I think
you don't want to know the story.
I mean, to be fair, this is the guy that just straps a rocket to the back of his car and is like, that's interesting.
I know, I get it.
But I honestly,
What's
in my
yours?
opinion,
What's
I
yours?
think my big takeaway from this that really frustrated me, that I'm actually disappointed Rogan didn't get into,
Okay.
and I'm guessing it's because he was probably asked not to, and that was, he gives names of people that worked with him.
Oh yeah.
And corroborating a story,
Yes.
as you as an
Yes,
NYPD
yes,
officer
yes.
would know, is super fucking important.
Yeah.
And I don't know where these guys are and why haven't these guys been found or talked to.
Right.
And these are specific
Yeah,
names,
yeah.
specific dates. Like he gives his supervisor's name.
Yep.
And he gives this guy by the name of Barry. Who online, if you look it up, his name.
Have you guys seen the first season?
Oh, that's such a fuck you guys.
I have.
You have? Do you like it? Okay, we'll move on. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's real good.
That's an inside joke.
I'm so sorry that I had
That's
to do
an inside
that,
joke
but I
for
had to
us
do it.
three.
Nothing. Just shut
Asshole.
up. He's in the middle of speaking. I'll tell you guys about it later.
Absolutely. Very good, by the way. Yeah, no aliens in that one. Just a crazy killer. But nonetheless,
But you're right. They have to corroborate those kinds of
these
stories.
So if you're giving me specific names, why didn't Rogan
Right.
fucking ask him,
Hey.
well, why haven't
That's a
you
good
guys
point.
interviewed these guys?
It's a very good
Right.
point. Maybe
Corroborating
are they
these
afraid
stories.
to?
Well, here's what they've talked to people that sell the hand prints. You know, the hand machine. Remember
Right.
the hand that goes in there? He's like,
Yes.
I wanted to corroborate this story, so I reached out to the guy that sells these.
Right.
And he remembers, but he's unwilling to go on camera and have a
Right.
conversation. It's like all you're selling are fucking like biometric
Right.
tools,
That
right?
aren't hooked up to anything. I don't
Yeah,
think.
like
It's
it has
just
nothing
it's
to
just
do
the
with
plate.
Area 51,
Right.
other than that's how people read to get in and out.
It's just tech. It's a
It's
guy.
just
It's
tech.
a guy selling tech.
Yeah, it's a guy. It's a hard. It's a fucking a CPU salesman. Nobody
Right.
gives a
Right.
shit.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah. So it's I think the guys that work there have interesting stories because they were there before Bear or before him.
Right.
I want to hear their stories at this point. And why would they not talk about these guys and the fact they have names?
Do you guys think is this your most kind of credible alien story
think
that
so.
you've ever heard?
Absolutely.
You think so?
Without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah,
dude.
I mean it's credible. That's the problem is
Or
none
how-
of his story can be really
Convincing, I think, is what I should say.
I think it's the most convincing. I don't know if you can really corroborate much, aside from the fact that he claims and the original investigator, the original what is it, George Knapp, who's this
Right, the
television journalist,
the Vegas investigative reporter, George
like
Knapp. Yeah.
he was the guy that has said they've said he never worked for the federal government, right?
Right.
So we're going based off of these statements,
Gotcha.
but his story is when he says it, he fucking believes everything. Whether or not it's true, I don't
Yeah.
know. But I believe what he's saying.
I did,
Like
yeah.
I believe that he believes what he's saying.
That thing
Right.
about the gravity, he's like, there's no wires. He's like, everything just seems to work by just being around each other. Like it's like a Bluetooth.
Yeah, but it's almost like
Yeah.
he almost makes it sound because it's spherical the way he
Right.
describes it, and then he's got some cone in the middle of it, and then he says it like all comes together. And I like think about it, and I think about that from like electrical currents, how it's all connected. It'd be crazy to live in a world where you don't need wires, and that all of the metal that you connect automatically allows some kind of electrical current. But they don't use electrical.
Right.
It's not
Right.
electrical.
Right.
It's what it is to me is it sounds like they are harnessing the energy in an atom.
Right. To
Right?
displace gravity. Right.
Right, because that's.
But I mean just across the board to power
Oh,
everything.
exactly. Yeah, sure.
Oh, right. Because that was Bob Lazar's thing. He's like, you know what gravity? He's like, we can't produce gravity. He's like, but this thing can. He's like, this is the only thing.
It's the only thing that can produce gravity, and we can't explain gravity.
Wasn't he saying something about like gravity waves?
Mass.
They were talking about gravitational waves, which he originally claimed existed in 1988,
Yes.
and then they measured gravitational waves, and it was announced 2 years ago where two black holes had ran into each
Right.
other, and it produced the gravitational wave
Right.
that they believe is like, it comes in waves. It's not in, what was the other thing? Gravity is actually a waveform. It's
like
not
produced.
a molecule or something
Right.
like that.
Right.
It's the same problem we have with dark matter versus the actual matter. So they couldn't measure, and they realized in the absence of actual matter that there was dark matter and actually made up most of the universe. And they couldn't figure that out until they were able to like measure that, but they couldn't also harness it in any other
Right.
way. They're just like, we don't know what else to do with this information. We just know that we have found mass where we didn't think mass was.
Right.
And we're calling that dark matter.
Like, all right, guys, cool.
Right. Yeah. There's nothing under
That's
that.
cool, right? It's like, yeah, what do we do about it? Oh, we don't know.
Well, it came into play. It was like it kind of just explained. It's like, oh, the universe is kind of filled with nothing. It's like, it's not filled with nothing. It's filled with something. We just don't know what the hell it is.
Right. And we've decided to designate it this name.
Yeah.
What do you want to call it, Jim? Dark matter. Yeah. Let's just do that.
I mean, you
It's
guys
hard
like,
to pass
going around. I mean, do you believe in aliens?
I mean, I'm a big
So that's
believer of all that.
right. And also, I do I just want to say about the documentary. I did get that feeling of like I was waiting for Bob Lazar during the documentary. Be like, I don't know, dude, just get the fuck out of my house. Like he's so upset about it. He's like, you think I'm benefiting from this? He's really perturbed by the whole
Right.
thing, and it feels like he keeps asking him more. He's like, I don't know, man. That's enough for today. I gotta go think about alien shit in the bathroom right now. Just leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah, he does. He definitely feels like he's annoyed, and he makes him answer the question a couple times, but he'll re-ask the question.
Right. He
And it's just
again.
like, yes.
Yeah, man. What part of
Yeah, man, I said that already. Why are we doing that?
Right, that is
Are you
funny.
gaslighting me? What is happening
He's very
right now?
no nonsense type of dude. But you could. That's the thing. You could tell, especially on Rogan, because I know Neil, you didn't see it, but
I'll
on
check it
Rogan,
out.
he was like, "I make no money from this."
Right.
He's like, "What do you people
benefit
think?
in
Like,
no
what do
way.
you?"
Yeah.
Well, but that's also, you have to kind of wonder his motivations at this point, because really at this point he could have said that stuff in the 80s.
Sure.
Never talked about it again.
Right.
Ignored requests for interviews.
Right.
Decided to live his life as he was. So what's the motivation to do what he's doing now? And maybe it is like, maybe this like skis ball buddy of Mickey Rourke's decided to say, hey buddy, you do this, we could probably get some people to come forward.
See, I think it's that because of the evidence early on, like again, him doing that interview in the 80s and stuff like that, and that having that. I think if you know anything about ufologists, which is what they call themselves, ufologists, MUFON, all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
they are diligent, guys. They've been probably contacting him for years to try to get him on the record for something, and he's just probably just like, whatever, just yeah, sure, bring a fucking camera over here, just get this on the record, sure, just leave me the hell alone.
Also, though, think about it. Again, you made a great point. I didn't think of it until right. All those agents, whatever organizations out there that are probably trying to get him for years, but he's like, I'll go on Rogan because his reach is bigger and also weirdly more credible than like maybe MUFON. Because if he goes to MUFON, we're like fucking
sure.
So
Right,
what?
right.
I honestly, I don't know what MUFON is.
It's the
Oh God! I mean, there's multiple organizations that they all just claim it's just exploratory stuff, state to state. Like and then you have the national ones, which I think one is MUFON, which is they actually have a standard for how you were to view, receive data.
right.
So you can become a MUFON member and actually read and look up into the sky each night and be like,
I gotta Google what it
documented
stands for 'cause
this.
it's bothering me now.
But it's all UFO research. Like it's always like whatever UFO research. I think they have one states and then they have like national ones, and they're just supposed to like set it so you can become a member. The thing is like I know one podcast I listen to. A guy is, and he kind of makes fun of it and what because like they do send you like everything's very expensive. So just to become a member,
Right.
is like it starts to feel like a pyramid scheme. You know what I mean? They're just like, yeah, listen, if you want the MUFON jacket, bro, and be a real investigator, it's at least $600. Like, and you're just like, sorry, what do you mean? I thought we were all trying to find aliens. I don't know why this is weird.
Mutual UFO Network.
Mutual and UFO network.
Okay,
Thank you,
okay.
bud.
I got a question. So you guys are the head of space exploration. We've asked this to a couple of our guests. You're the head of space exploration. You're sending a time capsule into space with 3 objects for aliens to find. Okay. What are you sending? in your time capsule?
Fleshlight.
One fleshlight.
America's greatest achievement.
Pretty sure
No?
Japan, right? No. You think it was made in America?
Oh,
I think Japan's, they're real good with their latex and stuff. I'm just saying.
Hold on, physically made or thought of?
Anyway.
No, I don't know, man. That's a good fucking question, man. What is
To find, like, an alien's going to pop this open and be like, so that's what they were about.
Yeah. Probably fossil record. If we could somehow probably bring that down, I'd probably put in some kind of parts of our fossil record. Probably that.
Yeah, like some our genealogy.
Our genealogy.
Human
which
beings.
I think in terms of now they do with taxonomy and a lot of that recorded. They're actually working on. I know Aaron Ra is a big guy who's doing that. And actually laying all that out in video series, like one species painstakingly to the next with all of the Latin guide. Like he's an archaeologist and everything like that. So he's laying that out. I would probably condense that onto like a US. Well, no, USB would be shit. Whatever. However I could. Yeah, dude. I know they sent gold plates. They sent gold records right into the
on the
into
Voyager.
space,
On the Voyager. they sent
Although,
gold.
no, it's funny thinking we're talking about like sending our like genealogy out there and like our bodies. It's like aliens might get that and be like, oh, that's how we kill them. Awesome. Like,
No, like for
X marks the spot right on the heart.
For context, I would send a DVD of Starship Troopers that said world history on it.
Right, there you go.
That's pretty funny. If you guys think you can fuck with us, we got this.
Historic
This is a
document.
documentary. It is three things. It really is hard to really narrow down
Right.
human history to three things.
Yeah.
Or a picture of pyramid, like,
Or just
we got
wait,
these-
whatever you want them to open up. Whatever.
Yeah.
I like the
definitely
fleshlight idea.
Maybe a microchip. I don't know.
A microchip? Just a microchip?
with information on, like all the
right.
world's information on it.
Okay.
That's one thing. Sure, that's one thing.
I mean, then
isn't
it
it-
is like, it's kind of like sending up a Betamax to yourself
Sure.
1,000 years later and being like, so what do I do with it?
Right.
Right. I
Is
don't
it
know.
a-
I'm dumb though, so
No, I don't
I'm not a
think
good
you're
person
dumb.
to answer for this.
I don't think you're dumb.
Isn't
you know?
didn't they send a Michael Jackson album up there?
No.
That was probably a bad idea.
He touched kids though. That's
Yeah.
not
That
good.
whole capsule was probably just like Cosby
Tainted.
Show, Michael Jackson. right. They're like the Penn State coaches.
Cosby.
Right, it's just
Exactly.
all those three things. And they're just like,
Sandusky.
these guys make things, but they get real weird. They get real weird.
These are their heroes?
We're gonna send the Cosby tapes, Thriller, and the Sandusky's playbook.
Aliens land and it's like, we want to see your leader, Bill Cosby. It's like, no.
But here he is.
That's not going to work.
I would probably just send some like weird compilation video of just like as much of human life as you can experience.
Just porn.
Just
Porn, just Pornhub.
That's it. It's just
Pornhub and xnxx.com.
Do not say what I use. It's I'm pretending that I've been pretending since I was like 13 that's the only one that no one knows about that saying. It's just a fun game I like to play.
That's
I
right.
pretend like it's mine.
I've really watched this video 143,628 times.
Well, actually, it sounds accurate.
It's real subtle. My mom would never know I was putting it into the thing. Oh, there's 3 X's, but there's an N in there. You see how?
right.
She'll never know. She'll never know. She'll never get it.
Throw them off. the
That is
scent.
very tough because everything I feel like I would put in the capsule is so contrite, or it just doesn't matter. It's just like it doesn't matter. So if jokingly, I would probably just do. I would fuck with them, and it would just be like a little capsule of my poo. Just because like I want them to be like, ooh, this is important.
Maybe
only
they'll eat
send
it.
3 things. It's just like there's my poo. Probably that. And then this herpes that I have, I would see if I can send that away.
Scrape it on a little.
just a little petri
Maybe,
dish.
what is it? Now you don't
Just
even.
a little.
Yeah, you should do one of the little microscopic glass.
That'd be good.
It
What
could
are
hurt
they
them.
called?
I like
Why the
that.
fuck do I not know the name of that?
Petri dishes.
No, petri, but he's
But
the
it's-
actual slides. The actual,
Slide, yeah, like a glass slide.
Right, right.
I had chemistry
Maybe
set
you'll
when I was
infect them and save
Right.
humanity.
Like World War,
dude.
not World War Z.
little.
War of the Worlds.
War of the Worlds.
Yeah, there you go.
We gave the aliens a cold.
And my third would just
herpes.
be like a shot of probably a kill list. If I can put a kill list on there with just some names,
Cool.
just in case they feel like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna swing by. This guy had a little list. We're gonna swing by, see what we can grab.
See,
You
you know what
I
I
mean?
would know what I would do? I would just put in 3 of the most vicious and deadly animals we have. So they open it, they just jump out, and they're like, "We're not going there. Is that what inhabits there? That's scary as fuck. Fuck that place. Just a bear, a honey badger, and an owl. Just fucking 3 terrible, horrifying things.
I hope you would separate them.
Yeah.
In the travel there. Just
Absolutely.
Well,
just
not
be
a mon-
one happy bear.
I'm
when
not a
you got-
monster,
right.
Yeah, sure.
That would be dope.
What was your? What would you say?
What did I say?
I think you said like
Cody.
spaghetti.
Yeah, my mom's spaghetti.
Mom's spaghetti.
I
We sneak, arms heavy.
mom's spaghetti. What else did I say? I don't remember. It was a while ago.
I think you put an album in there.
Steve Martin.
Like a musical album.
That'd be good.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Steve Martin's got to be funny to everybody.
He's not funny to me, but you know.
So you guys are comics. Who are your inspirations? Who are your favorite comedians?
I know Neil's.
We got a couple Dane Cook fans
No.
here, ladies.
Oh,
and
when I was
gentlemen.
younger-
Dane Cook's funny.
When I was younger, I used to be like, "You look like Dan Cook." When I was younger, I was
Really?
Yeah.
What
David
happened?
Tennant? Yeah, what did?
What you said? Fuck you. I have a fun game. I guarantee. I bet you I could guess your inspiration, your comedic inspiration.
You can guess mine?
I bet you guess mine.
Okay.
I think Neil's are Dana Gold,
Okay.
Paul F. Tompkins,
Okay.
Todd Barry, Maria Bamford.
It's a lot of inspiration.
Jesus, man.
But those are the guys that you, I think, really like a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess starting was always all the regulars. We always, it was always. I listened to Pryor.
I'm skipping them though. That's
I know.
yeah.
That's the thing that was the problem. It was like we probably had comic because my mom was just. They just didn't realize it was like that weird thing when I come from a very Catholic family, but for some reason I don't understand why. Eddie Murphy was fine. You can listen to Eddie. She'd be like, yeah, that makes sense. I don't
were
know,
cool with
understand. Eddie Murphy or just like Richard Pryor and of course Carlin, but like in terms of the ideas I have now, it's like you guys let me listen to like Rebels, like and then now I'm like,
Now
yeah,
you're
I'm like an
wondering why I
atheist.
think God doesn't exist?
And they're all, I have looked my mom straight in the eyes and just been like, Mom, listen, you're 63. All right. I've been telling people you're 50 for a while now. Now listen, you really think that a priest waves some hands over and then that becomes actual blood and that becomes actual flesh? I'm like, Mom,
Yes.
look me in my eyes. You're an occupational therapist. You think transubstantiation is real. She's like, Neil, just go to church. Typical Catholic response. She's like, don't worry, just go. Just don't worry about it.
Yeah, my mom makes me keep an angel in my car. It's
Wait, you're not doing scapula? You're not doing the scaps? You're not doing the little...
No, it's
Keep an
definitely it's just the angel, but it's only because I'm only allowing just the angel. And it's
Okay.
more for her sake. When I tell her things like, Mom, I don't believe in God. It's
Right.
not a thing.
Right.
And she's like, I don't understand what you mean.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, well, denial's a great
My
way
mom
to live.
is the same way. So
Yeah?
yeah. So were they close to your guys you like?
Those are definitely influences, I would say, when I was already in comedy. So once I got into comedy and I saw what was even more out there. But yeah, Dana Gould definitely early on. Definitely one of my favorites early on. I just love a joke writer. That's probably like someone who is writing those jokes and diligently like trying to work on word economy, just like boom, boom.
Right.
But also a lot of the one. How about you guys got any comic influences? What are your?
I mean, you guys are gonna like. I love Norm Macdonald.
We love Norm Macdonald.
I love Norm Macdonald. I love Steve Martin. For me, Steve Martin, and I'm a big. I like Bill Murray. For me, the big three, like I grew up with, and it's kind of like pretty standard, but it is
Murray's
Steve
great.
Martin. Bill Murray's not really a stand-up per
he's
se,
but
he's like a
actor.
comedian actor. And then Robin Williams stuff was like so high energy, so intense that it's like you were exhausted. Like he was exhausted by the end of his show.
Can you guess mine?
Well, I know early on you really liked Norton,
Yeah, Jim Norton.
and then I'm guessing
Really?
by
Oh, yeah.
associate-
I'm
New York guy.
That makes
He's
sense.
funny. Norton's funny.
I want to throw in like a Diaz, but I just don't know.
Later,
Probably
way later. I was already in
man.
comedy when I
So
saw
then,
like Joey
Rogan's
Diaz.
been around long enough.
Still though, he was still later on too. Like
Really?
it was mostly that early New York crew, like Norton, Voss, Burr, Patrice,
yeah.
Bobby Kelly, like those guys.
Sure. Okay.
Because I listen to Opie and
Opie and
Anthony,
Anthony.
every morning from New York,
Yeah.
they're fucking right across the goddamn bridge.
Yeah,
So I grew up in the O&A group of comics, and then starting comedy in New York too. Seeing those guys do comedy, and then you're like, oh, those are my guys. Like that's my David Tell, guys like that from the Cellar and all those guys.
Yeah.
Sure.
So just a different scene,
Very different scene.
Yeah.
Those guys were so against the mainstream of what anything was.
Yeah,
in a lot of ways.
already laying all those guys.
Yeah,
Great.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
But New York comedy is very different than LA comedy too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's just different than Philly comedy. It's all fucking different.
It's always individual. I don't know. How about Dan? Any?
Love Chappelle.
Yeah,
Duh.
Bernie Mac.
Yeah.
I mean, growing up, like Raw, Eddie
Right.
Murphy, Raw,
Yeah, of course.
Martin Lawrence, You So Crazy.
I was
fucking
never
loved that
a Martin
shit.
Lawrence fan.
Yeah.
Loved that shit.
I could never
But
get into him.
he went bonkers, but yeah. And then I don't know, man. In college, I did like Dane Cook. I fucking loved
Everyone
him.
did.
We just talked about
Yeah,
this.
absolutely. He was like
star.
he in a weird way. He had like a really interesting period. He had an interesting high in his career.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, it's one of those things where he'll have a renaissance at some point in his career.
Well, you know, he
And
still sells out.
He still sells out like crazy because he's got a
Yeah.
name for himself. But I do think when it comes to being on like a national stage, it's just a matter of time before people kind of give him another shot.
You know, I feel when you listen to his story too, like his brother stole literally millions of dollars from him.
really?
Yeah.
You guys didn't know that? Yeah.
No.
His brother was his manager.
Wow.
And for years, he was just taking money,
Siphoning
just not
money.
paying stuff, and just taking. And he was like,
fucked up.
finally, I was like, where's all this fucking money? And then it was his brother. It was his stepbrother, but still, like, you know,
Right. I mean, it's
yeah.
still family.
He's
to-
in jail, dude. I mean, he went
Yeah.
to jail. Yeah.
Wow.
Still
Some
millions.
Yeah.
And he said he got some of it back.
Oh, really?
Damn.
That's it.
And then today,
That's it. Some of it. That's it.
Maniscalco, for sure.
Oh, he's great,
I
Sebastian.
fucking love
Maniscalco.
Sebastian Maniscalco, man.
We went being in LA. We had to go to the Comedy Store, check it
Yeah,
out.
yeah.
Also try to rub some elbows, you know, try to schmooze our way in there. But like, we saw Kyle Dunnigan.
Uh-huh.
Fuck, dude.
Nailed it.
Hilarious, man. The shit he's doing on Instagram alone.
I mean,
is
and that's
like,
yeah, and that's not even
holy
stand up.
shit.
Like, we're talking about he did it was 15-minute sets, right? They were doing, dude. He fucking. I don't want to give away his bit, but like,
don't.
no, I'm not. I'm just saying that he has this one bit that we've been talking about for 3 days. And we're like imitating it. It's so funny,
Right.
And it's so funny too because it's a bit that Neil should have. Like me and Tom were talking about, like it's such a bit that Neil should have almost. It's like, oh yeah, you should have thought of that years ago. That's the bit you would do.
Yeah.
It was like you really missed out, man. Now it's done again.
You said you like writer comics, right?
Yeah, so
like the people
usually
that do the
joke
quick,
artists.
yeah,
We
the
call them
joke
joke
artists.
artists.
So like Jesselnick.
Jesselnick, definitely. Yeah, Dimitri Martin.
My wife watched. I had my wife because I thought the first time I saw Jesselnick, it was at like it was at the Comedy Store. It was over at the Comedy Store. It was
Okay.
at the Comedy Store. It was at Laugh Factory. It wasn't-
Okay.
I'm not sure which one it was.
Okay.
And he comes out, and I was like, I fucking was rolling with his one-liners
Right.
because that's all he does. He does
Yeah.
a
Right.
series of one-liners. And my wife watched it, and I watched his Netflix special, and I was kind of like, I'm kind of disappointed right now.
I didn't watch it yet.
You haven't watched it?
That's
Yeah.
still-
I'm kind of like.
So which one you're talking? He would have
I,
been.
I
doing-
Thoughts and
I think
Prayers?
it's yeah.
Shakespeare?
Is it the newest one that
and
he
then
just
you
came
have,
out with?
you have Shakespeare.
Fire and the Maternity Ward's a new one.
Right.
Yeah, I think that's the one.
Before
I
that was Shakespeare, and then Great Whites, or the shark
Thoughts-
one.
Thoughts and Prayers was the one right before this
Right.
one.
Damn.
So
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
yeah.
you're talking to comedy nerds. So yeah, I was like, which
Yeah,
one?
You
I
guys will
wonder
know
if-
that. I
Yeah.
don't.
I
I'm
gotcha.
not. Yeah.
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 Well,
But anyway, it's interesting. Like I dig a setup, and I dig the payoff, and I like the quick run throughs. That's fun because you like to kind of directly see how he's connecting as quickly as you can.
You got a favorite dad joke?
Uh,
You got a favorite dad in completely inverse to what that guy does. Just like us, I'm just always like to see if
No,
somebody
I
has
don't.
any dad joke. Okay.
no, I didn't have a dad.
You neither. That's awesome, dude.
Well, of course, because it's West Coast us. So,
Yeah.
Forgot
do you have a
about
loving relationship with your dad?
What's that?
Do you have a loving relationship with your dad?
Yeah.
Yeah, Dan's dad's the Dan's
dad's
dad's
amazing.
Yeah, his dad's
Love you, Dad.
It's funny, bro. I love you, Dad, too. If you're listening to this, it's funny because the three of us, I say we all have very different style stand-ups.
Yeah.
Like Neil's he's more of a well, obviously he's 6'5", so very physical, right? I would say it's fair.
Is that what you say to somebody that's 6'5"? You're very physical.
on stage?
very physical.
Very
What is
physical.
it? You're like,
It's,
God damn it, Neil's up there fucking like thrusting again and like spinning around.
I don't know if you guys know what I did. 20 minutes of humping the stand.
Yeah.
20 minutes of just humping.
Do you know Magic Mike's
It's usually my first
Yeah.
20.
He opens up with that.
Oh, you do?
Oh, when was
yeah,
that?
with
Stand
Pony
20
from
minutes.
Genuine, the whole night.
Every time it's done, he's like, I just wish people would appreciate
Yeah.
the substance of my
Well,
comedy.
because they don't get it is because it's funny and then it's not funny and then it's really funny and then it's not really funny. Then it gets
Absolutely.
really funny. It's a different tactic.
Yeah.
Some people
Wave.
won't appreciate.
You got to ride the wave.
Get out of the way.
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely.
He's a very good one-liner. He can write good puns. That's not my strength. I can't do that.
Yeah.
And
Puns are tough, man.
fucking hard.
Do you write or do you keep it all upstairs?
What do you mean, like joke write?
Yeah. Like when you're working on a bit.
I right now, I do it in my head, and then once I think I kind of have it figured out, I'll write it out to remember it because I have a bunch of CTE.
Yeah.
So
It's got a bunch of brain.
I have a bunch of brain damage, so
Okay.
I have a hard time remembering stuff. So I
Right.
have to like write it down. But I'll also sometimes, I think we all do it, we'll write on stage.
Sure.
Right.
Just like in the
Make a
middle of
note
joke.
in the middle of a joke, like,
Or
oh,
try
okay.
to just work something new. Like, this might be funny.
Yeah.
And like, oh, that wasn't funny.
Do you write or
Yeah.
or
He's way more diligent about it than I am. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Probably, I don't know, extensive notes. So extensive notes, both long form and
You know, like a
then
manifesto.
short form. Yeah, dude.
like
Yeah,
you,
because
you
it's-
keep like notes in your phone and then you take those and put them on the paper.
Yeah,
or-
I mean, hopefully it all comes down to just bullet points because I've probably already rehearsed kind of what I want to do. So, especially if it's a new thing. So that means I've already done like a cold run, like just at home talking to myself in the mirror like a psychopath.
Yeah.
And just
I was
doing that
kidding.
cold run with act outs and everything. Then I do leave room. That's why I usually like to get it down to like bullets, which most comics do. It's
Yeah.
just like, okay, try to do as much as like what
hit
you
this
want to get
point,
across.
hit this point.
We all
Right,
have
right,
bullet
right.
points.
Like
in
that.
my notes right now, I have bullet points.
What it
Yeah.
allows you
Yeah.
to do is you basically go from like macro thoughts to micro thoughts, but it still
Yeah.
leaves you room once you get to those bullets where if you're delivering and things are working, it still allows you to kind of improvise if you need to, and or any kind of throw in lines.
What percentage of jokes would you say that you write that you think are funny that end up being horseshit?
98.
like are there like how often, like what I'm trying to ask is like how often are you like, that is fucking great, and then you go out there and you're like, nope, that is dead in the water.
If I think it's gonna crush and doesn't, that's rare.
Is that rare?
So I mean, I think everyone writes with the intention this is gonna be funny, right? So
Yeah.
like, yeah, but if I sometimes I'll be like, and then you get out there and you're like, oh wow.
Nothing.
Yeah, but there's also those moments I imagine when you're like, there's something there.
Sure.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I just got to
Yeah,
work
yeah.
it. Yeah, of course.
But that does happen. But I mean, I don't know. For me, definitely, I'm a little bit of a premise whore, so I'll definitely just like throw stuff out that are just premises. That I have not written a joke to, because usually if you have at least a good premise, there's something to start off. So I'll get excited about an idea. I'll just bring it to an audience and just be like, all right, anything,
Yeah.
and then I'll go. I'll try to go back and be like, okay, now we can actually sit down. And,
Turbans, huh?
right.
I like to tell
Love
stories.
planes, which I hope is what you meant. I'm on some lists.
I like to tell stories more,
Yeah.
like personal stuff. Like
He
about,
tells real shit stories. It's real fun.
yeah, I talk about how much piece of shit I am. I'm dead inside. All that shit. Like I'm way more into that.
And you're telling me you're not from Philly.
I know.
No, New York.
Like you got that like Philly self-hate, right?
That's New York and Philly self hate's the same.
oh, it is. I didn't know.
same.
I didn't know if there was a
Do you talk a lot about being a cop?
I have 2 stories because I don't want to be like that guy. You know,
You don't want to be like the
cop comic.
cop
Yeah.
comic.
How long were you a cop?
8 years.
Oh wow, man.
2008. 2008 to
There's that CTE.
2008 to 16.
Shut up. Wait. Yes. January. Yeah. 2008, 2016. Yeah. Staten Island.
So you weren't there when it was real bad, you know, like, you know.
Oh no.
I know. I know all about the NYPD.
Do you?
Yeah, because of Blue Bloods.
Oh, totally realistic. It's the most real show.
yeah,
Blue
yeah.
Bloods is Cody's
Like
fucking
fucking
lifeblood.
Tom Selleck.
Are you serious?
Fucking don't. I realize it's terrible.
You and my mother.
Dude,
Yes.
right now.
He's on Blue
Do you?
Bloods. I love
I
Hawaii
fucking
Five-O.
love
God damn it.
She would. I secretly.
I can appreciate bad television. Okay,
Oh, okay. That
And
makes
the
sense.
Reagans, it's an idealistic view of what the New York Police Department should be like.
Right.
Sure.
Fucking cops.
That's like people watch SVU.
Yeah.
Like, first of all, it's SVS. We don't have units in the NYPD.
Right.
Fuck faces. It's squads. Everything's a squad. Okay.
Right.
Secondly, all this is bullshit.
Yeah.
All of it. Every single minutia, detail, all of it is fake. There's no 15th precinct, by the way. It's a made up place.
He's not fun to watch television.
I'm not fun to watch cop shows with, especially NYPD. Because if you give me LAPD, I don't know the procedure, right? I don't know the real laws and shit. So
Right.
I could just be like, I don't think that's accurate, but I can't really.
Yeah.
NYPD, I'm like, no. Like really, really bitchy about it.
Now that you're out and you're not a police officer, do you find yourself day to day like outdoors being like
I break a
watching
lot of
people
laws?
break
Oh.
the law and like you're like that's fucking illegal.
No, I break the
That's
law.
illegal.
Are
That's
you kidding
fucking
me?
illegal.
No, here's, I don't know. You get into it thinking like you're going to help people.
Yeah.
And then they beat that out of you real quick.
Really?
Adam shook his head for the listeners.
Yeah, they beat that out of you
With a
real
no.
quick. Like the NYPD is like, oh, you want to help people? And you're like, yeah. They're like, cool. You're gonna write someone that's never gonna hate you though, because we don't really care about helping people. And that's not the NYPD; it's any police department, you know. And they're like, and you're like, oh, but help? And they're like, no. We don't care about people. Make money for the city.
Oh
Right,
shit!
right,
It's
right.
it's that driven in.
Like here's like quotas don't exist. Wink, wink.
Bullshit.
Yeah, we've seen.
But we all
multiple
have them,
cases.
right?
Right,
So
right.
but here's the thing. Like as far as arrests go, they're like, yeah, you have to arrest one person every 3 months.
You have to.
Because no, that's for like job performance. I think it's like an actual law. There's something weird that I was trying to explain this to you yesterday, but it's been so long I forgot it. There's some legal way where that's okay because like job performance or something like that. Like you're a police officer, you have to like perform your duty or something like that.
Right.
But like summons and shit is not actually part of your duty technically.
Right.
Because like an arrest is a summons is in lieu of arrest.
Right.
So like it gets a weird dude, and you get in there and you're like, this is fucking stupid. Like this is what I got in for.
Yeah.
And then I got out.
Well,
Like, yes.
it definitely sounds like as you do it for an extended period of
Yeah,
time, you become definitely jaded. But
Yeah.
at the same time,
Or
it
hard-
changes your perspective on everything because you're dealing with all the fucking shit, right?
I want to get over the Vegas thing with the guy in the car, but it's kind of true. That's the reason, though. Is
Do
it
it.
not?
Do it. Yeah.
All right. So our LA trip started in Vegas. We flew into Vegas, and we're staying at this travel lodge on the Strip because we're only there for a day.
Sure.
Neil and I walk out to down the Strip for a little bit in the morning to get some coffee and some vape stuff for him.
Yeah.
We're walking again. It's not the MGM. It's a fucking travel lodge on the Strip. It's not a great place, right?
Right.
So we're walking back into the parking lot, and this car is like, I'm not paying attention really, but it's kind of slowly trailing us in the parking lot. And he jokingly kind of says, "What's this fucking car following us?" And then my shit went off. My sixth sense. I went, "Yeah, you know what? It is following us. You're right." And then we get to the stairs, and I had to turn around to see this car. And I turn around to the car, and this guy who, let's say, he didn't look like an upstanding citizen. Let's say he didn't have all of his teeth.
Yeah.
Let's just say he didn't have them all. He had
Right.
some, not
Right.
all.
Right.
So he rolls down his window and he goes, "Hey man, come here." And I went, "Nah, man, I can hear you just fine from here."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Huh? Yeah, I'll come." It's like this gullible, like, and I'm like, no. I'm like, "What's up?" And he goes, "Doc, come here." And I went, "Nah, what do you got to say?"
Yeah.
And
Hell
he goes,
no. I'm not coming near you.
And now he makes like a weird face to me. Like, thanks, Tom. Like, if he really needed help, like directions or something like that, right? He
would
would
have asked
He would
right
have been like,
there.
"Hey, man, I just need help," or something like that. Or his face would have been like, "Whoa, that's hostile." He just did this. He went like, like he's trying to figure me out, and then just slowly pulled into the spot. And I'm like, "Oh, he's trying to rob us, dude." And he's like, and Neil's like, "No." I'm like, "Let's go to the room right now." I like push him to the stairs. Like, we gotta go
Right,
just in
like,
case. I'm
fuck
like, "I don't have
this
a gun
guy."
on me.
Right,
I don't
right,
have
right.
anything. I don't know what this guy has.
Yeah.
And then the whole time, I'm like, "That guy's gonna fucking rob us. He's gonna call you to the window and put a gun to your fucking chest and be like, 'Give me your wallet.' That's what he's gonna do." And the whole for 3 to 4 or 5 days now, he's like, "You're overacting." I'm like, "No, that guy was robbing us. I'm sure of it." That's
mean-
what cop shit does to you. Everyone's trying to rob you. Everyone's out to get you.
Everybody's raping,
Everyone's
murdering.
raping and murdering.
Well, yeah.
you.
Why would he want to get you close if you could hear each other fine? You know.
Thank you, Dan.
That's that's not like regular human nature.
Yeah,
I'm from a blueberry farm in New Jersey. We just walk up to cars.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, when you told me
Come
that,
here, dude. I'll be right over. Hold on. Let me grab these blueberries. I'm
You
be
want
right over.
money in my wallet too?
Because first of all, everybody already has a gun in their car. We already had guns in our
Dude,
cars.
I don't even roll my window down if someone pulls up to me and goes, like
I rolled down out of
What?
courtesy.
I'm like,
That's
nah, I'm
DC
good.
smarts right there.
it's just a matter of time until I get shot. 'Cause
Yeah, dude.
I honestly, if I was alone, I
do it all
probably
the
would have
time.
been like, "What's up, man? What are you okay? You lost me."
I'm gonna call you West
Absolutely
Coast
not.
Neil. I'm gonna call you East Coast Cody.
Nah, man. I made my wife stop giving change to homeless people. I was like,
really?
You cannot fucking walk up that close. to
That's
them.
like one of my favorite things to do.
I was like, don't do it.
Yeah, one
Walk
time.
up, get
yeah,
their scent. You know what I mean?
One time,
Really
someone tried
take
to
it
stop
in.
my wife on the street. I'm like, "Hey, you know?" I was like, "Don't talk to this gentleman." I just grabbed her, like, "Let's go." I'm like, "Don't talk to us. Don't talk to
Yeah.
her. The fuck are you? Fuck out."
Absolutely not.
Dude, but I I would say a temper. So I have a bit of an anger problem. So I am a bit off the handle.
CTE doesn't really level you out. Nah. It's not like it's not really like all the CTE people super mellow. Most of them became monks.
No,
it's not how it works. They usually hit their wives.
You might be heightened to that stuff, and maybe that person didn't, but you'll never die of that.
Right.
Hey, you want to live in that scared world. Whatever.
You'll never be.
You got to start walking up to cars and just pulling out wallets. So, do you need this, man? I don't know. Whatever.
I don't need my license that much.
It's like, you know how many opportunities I've gained by walking up to cars and saying, "Hey, stranger, how are you?"
I have gotten many.
I like Cody's face is like, I don't understand the problem with walking up to cars. He's just trying to figure it out. Like, why I'm so.
It's not that. It's just like. You're right. And I'm a fucking idiot.
Right? Yeah, dude.
Like,
you and Jenny.
I would have just been like, man, are you okay? What's going on, Mr. Weird Guy in broken down car?
Yeah.
It wasn't like a guy in a suit driving a Rolls. Yeah. He was a fucking homeless guy with no teeth and a broken down Kia. Or whatever the fuck it was. Like some
man,
Toyota.
come here. No, wait.
That's going to be me one day. I'm going to need assistance.
He wanted
what would have gotten me if he said, "Hey, come here, I have candy." Because then I would have been like, "Fuck,
like a child."
Yeah, that's me, right?
Fucking Klondike's in here. How are you keeping those cold?
I love
Vegas. What? So that's it. Just that job ruined me.
Nice.
And now I'm dead to the world. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
there you go.
But it's a great experience and good life.
Stop bumming people out. Jesus Christ, she's such a bummer. If you were about to hit that guy, I thought
I'm gonna fucking hit
don't
it,
do it, dude. Just
I'm hitting it. I'm hitting it. Here we go,
do it, dude. Don't.
I want to tell you about a company called JC Room Blocks. Do you have 10 or more out-of-town guests coming to an event near you? Maybe you have a bris, a wedding, a family reunion, a science convention. Maybe some friends are coming in town and they just want to get drunk in one place. Or your mom's coming into town and she's got 10 brothers and sisters and they need a room so they can all come over to your house and have a bagel. Well, I have the answer for you. JC Room Blocks. They research hotels in the area that you need the rooms. So if you're in San Diego, they're going to find those rooms. They're going to put them together for you. Oh, what? You need to be in Boston for a little bit? No big deal. Go over to Boston and hang out with your Boston friends. You got 10 or 15 of them and you need a room? Fucking Boston. That's what you're going to do. Since they're certified travel agents, they can get you the lowest possible rates. On top of discounted rates, they can also negotiate highly discounted bridal suites, shuttle service, and food and beverage functions. If you mention the Dan and Kody podcast, that's us, they'll waive their fee. That means you don't pay anything. Okay? Check them out, jcroomblocks.com. I'm going to repeat that, jcroomblocks.com. They're on Facebook, they're on Twitter and Instagram. Follow them, check them out, get all them rooms. All right. Well, that's sweet. So, Dan, I guess it's time for this week's True Crime. All right. What do you got for us,
That was cool.
Yeah.
You ready for this? You ready for this?
Yeah.
Dead man's parrot could become key witness in murder trial.
That's a fucking dream of mine.
Isn't that amazing?
That's a dream of yours, is to have a parrot?
No.
Or to have a parrot that, like,
Testify in court.
for you.
Just, I don't have to be involved. I just want to see it.
So it's actually coming true then. It's a real thing right
But
now.
I want it on the stand
Yes.
and on its perch, and I want its foot to go on a Bible, and I don't want its owner anywhere near it. I don't want any interpreter. I just want a lawyer talking to a parrot on the stand. I'm very serious.
This Michigan woman is accused of killing her husband, and the prosecutor is turning to the dead man's parrot to help put her behind bars. Glenna Durham, she was charged last Thursday in connection to a May 2015 murder of her husband Martin in their Ensley Township home. Martin was shot 5 times, including once in the head, and Glenna sustained a shotgun wound to her head. Now, they've gotten the parrot went to a family member after the death.
Like a Lassie moment?
Well, yeah, I mean,
Lassie's like, he's dead. He's dead.
right. This parrot is now screaming and yelling, saying, "Don't fucking shoot." Don't fucking shoot.
Right.
But that doesn't prove that this is proof that they get shot.
It doesn't explain it, but
It would have been funny if the guy's like, "Don't fucking shoot Terry. Don't
Right.
fucking shoot Terry."
Right.
And then it said,
Zip code, social security number.
"My murderer is Terry."
My murderer is Terry Johnson.
yeah, when there's a parrot around, you need to be really descriptive of
Right.
like how what you're saying.
That's
but
so cool.
they're not sure if they think that the birds like they're gonna get this bird to say this in court, and they're gonna try to insert it as evidence. But there's not really there's not much of
But
a
they live to
precedence
be
that
like
it could
they
actually
live
work.
to be older than humans.
Mr. Squawker, so you say that you saw the victim on the day of the incident? You know, like just
Shoot him! Shoot him!
don't fucking shoot. I just love
If the
that.
parrot's like, I'm a bird, man. I don't know.
You gotta bring on an expert first to be
Yeah.
like,
Right.
whole thing.
Basically, there's a good chance that Bud the bird basically has a PTSD breakdown and is repeating the last thing his favorite person said.
Bud.
Yeah.
is
So
the
you
name
do
of this
need
bird.
an expert to come in and say, would a bird have PTSD?
That's psychotically
And would they
hilarious.
end up saying
If they and so I guess the defense of this woman will need to prove that this bird is well, they don't need to prove anything.
Right.
They can just say like this bird is just saying
Right,
fucking
Right, he could
shoot
have been
us.
like he heard it in
Yeah.
a movie.
Well,
Yeah.
because if she had a shot to the head and then he was shot 5 times, I would just be like self-defense and call it a day.
Right.
And then crime of passion, whatever.
All right, my argument is, and she took the shotgun from this man.
No, I mean, well, it depends on who. What do you? Oh,
She
I'm
killed
interpreting
him.
the fact that they both
she
pulled
shot
guns
him
on
a couple
each other.
times, not quick enough, and he had a gun, and then shot her in the
Right.
head.
Got it.
It's like, and you know,
Right.
she's like, da, 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 you know.
Right.
It's kind of
Like RoboCop.
yeah, a lot like
Right, right.
why even-
Samuel Carr is a parrot buff in San Diego, and he believes that parrots, like Bud, are capable of vocally recreating something they witnessed.
Yeah, I mean, any parrot buff would say the same thing, am I right?
He's a
By
Jimmy
nature of being a buff.
Yeah, but once you fall into buffdom, you immediately just...
How does he not just call him? I'm a parrot, Jimmy Buffett. Like, how does he saying parrot buff? First of all, that's not it's not an expert. I don't know why he was saying. I know a little bit about parrots.
It's like Charlie.
Would the prosecution like to admit a buff to the stand? To
It's like Charlie and It's Always Sunny. Like, I'm an expert in bird law. It's, like, it's not a fucking thing. The fuck?
Your Honor, the bird is. Can I treat it as a hostile witness? It just gets a mirror. He's just get it. Look at it. Look at the mirror.
When I was in Mexico, I held a parrot, and this parrot's sister called me a cunt.
Wow.
She could smell the trash on you.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the trainer was like, "I'm so sorry." I was like, "That is the funniest thing that I've ever seen." Are you kidding me? This
Hey, you held a
just-
macaw.
This bird just I held the scarlet macaw, and apparently notoriously assholes.
Yes,
I don't like.
especially as they age, they're like really cranky.
So the one here's how smart they are. So they're used to just standing on people's arms, whatever.
Right.
So I put my arm out, and the parrot goes to step off the thing, and he stops, and I'm like, "Are we gonna fight?" Like he was like in a very like intimidating stance, and I was like, "Why is he karate kicking me?" Like he has that Johnny the Karate Kid stance, the crane kick, and she's like, "Oh, he's unsure of your tattoos. He doesn't know what they are. He's not used to seeing that." And I was like, "Are you shitting me? They're that fucking smart?" He's like, "No, that ink." That's ink, man. I don't know what that is. It's like, wow. Just stand on my
I won't
arm.
step on that.
Stand on my arm, you idiot bird. You're in a cage. Who's smarter? Stand on it.
His main gig is stepping on branches. You think he hasn't fucking picked up on a perception of just like, oh, that's a snake that I'm stepping on. Whoops a daisy. He's like, yeah, dude, he knows how to
I don't
step.
know, bro. There are local blackbirds. So they let them fly around the resort, and the local blackbirds hate them because they're like they look at them as a threat, and they just chase them around. And I'm like, don't put him. That's so.
Also, guys, if anybody's listening to this, this is Adam on vacation. I want to be very specific about what he was paying attention to on vacation.
Right.
Just bird chaos happening above him. And he's just like, dude, these fucking birds, man. Honey? Yeah, hold on.
That's
Watch this
fucking
bird battle
true,
up top.
bro. I was high, and I'm just standing there at the pool, and I'm like, yo, these
You
birds
didn't
are
have
going
to
ape
say
shit.
the high part.
Yeah, I
You didn't
know.
have to say
I
it. We
know.
all knew.
I know.
Dude,
We all
I'm not a bird fan. I could deal with no birds.
They're creepy.
Yeah,
life.
you scared of birds?
I just no.
I get you.
We had a bird stuck in our vent when I was a child.
I'm used to that, man.
And it was like,
You should have just called me over.
it was a big freak out moment where
Really?
like we had to open up the laundry room door in our basement, and this bird like just flew out.
Right.
We were pretty young. My brother and my sister were just running around screaming. We
Right.
thought my mother was getting pecked to death. I can't do
Any
birds.
bats? You ever dealing with any bats in the house?
Nope, no bats.
It's an old good time, dude.
Yeah?
Go real soft. You you think you're a man? Just a little bat in the house. See
Go.
what happens.
Changes the game.
See how screamy you get.
Yeah, because you're just like, all right, I'm going to go grab this bat. I guess, like, well, you can't grab it. It's rabies. And they're like, well, what are we going to do? It's like, just get a towel or something. And then you get next to it and it starts flapping. And you just immediately start screaming like a lady. And it's fine. That's okay. You scream like a lady. And try to grab. Yeah, dude, it was, but you turn into, you just grab a tennis racket and kill it. That's the way it goes.
Clark Griswold, catch it in
Yeah,
the bag.
you just
smack it
go.
with a hammer.
I've killed many things inside of a house. I used to kill mice at our. You guys love this. Sorry, in terms of murders. I used to be the guy in. We used to have an office in Old City for the place I won't mention that I worked for, and because I used to have to be, they used only glue traps.
Oh,
for
wow.
Philadelphia rats.
Oh my God.
And we would have them. So I would hear like a.
So they're alive on the glue trap, and you got to go in and take care of them.
I don't even. This is like this is a building which is not my responsibility. Like we're just an office inside this building.
You just
and
took
because it would
ownership.
take so long, because they would just be. I would just hear like like that. I'd be like, oh God damn it! I had a hammer that I used to have in the office. And I used to have
bring it up.
I used to have to come into the office, and because they would like, hey, we're gonna call the building. The first time we tried, it was 20 minutes. So you just heard a mouse, like a rat or a mouse, just being like just screaming for 20 minutes. And I'm from a farm, so I'm just like, this is terrible. So
Yeah.
I'm just gonna take this over here. And they're like, where are you going with that hammer? I was like, don't worry about it. And I got a real easy system down.
Putting
You know
them
what
out
I
to
mean?
pasture.
Got you know what I mean?
Put 'em in a bag?
Real easy system. Yeah, put them in a little bag. You put them in a bag. You get the head lined up.
Blueberry Neal's coming in with
dude.
the hammer.
He also
Game
used
over.
to shoot dogs in the face.
Okay, now wait a second. Don't just say that as a context. I don't know how you guys treat old dogs here.
Puppies.
That first of all,
I
that
don't
was
know
not
about
me.
the face.
That was not me. That was
You know, shooting a dog in the head.
He actually made them open their mouth and
No, I
begged for their
didn't.
life. And
Oh
he still
my
pulled the trigger.
God.
You're being
Yeah.
a very bad person right now.
You bring
Tom
a couple
knows.
podcasters
I'm
in
so
your house,
sorry. I'm
and
so
you have
sorry
no
about this.
idea.
It's really rude. They have a dog. There's a dog in this house that just heard that and is freaking out.
He
right
is,
now.
absolutely. He put a cone on his head right now just
Right.
because of it.
Exactly.
To protect
Trembling.
himself.
You let dog Joseph Mangala walk in.
You know what Neil's favorite part of I Am Legend is? When he chokes out his dog.
Oh, my God.
He's like, yeah,
Jesus.
good.
Are we doing plugs? You can find me at I'mADogKiller.com. You can find me there. If you guys need any stranglings.
Oh, you got a puppy? Not anymore.
But anyway, yeah. So I'm not going to keep continuing. Just me leading down.
There's only so many ways you can kill a dog, right now?
Yeah. You'd be surprised. Yeah. That's terrible.
And that was this week. True crime. Send help. Send help.
Thank you guys for coming out to the podcast.
Yeah, man.
Thanks
Thanks for having. I know. I'm glad we ended this on dog murder.
He
Puppy
really blew
murder.
it out of proportion in terms of how we'd have to kill an ailing dog on a farm. But that's fine. Yeah, you can make up.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of ways you can blow a dog's brain out of proportion. But sure.
Is that what you'd put in the time capsule?
That would be
Doug
what
was
I
like,
put in
Doug was
there.
like, no, please.
Boom, it's over. So,
I'm fine.
what's the story, guys? Where can our listeners that we have
Sure.
find you? What's the way?
Yeah. You can always check us out at nerdswithwordspodcast.com. That's our
Yes.
our main podcast that I almost said Tom because Tom and I actually are starting a podcast, but Adam and myself do Nerds with Words every
Yep.
Sunday. We live stream and you can
Around
check
12,
us out.
1 o'clock.
Yeah, right around then. That's Eastern Standard Time. And we just dropped, we kind of have like a podcast media network now. So we have like a media
Nice.
network that we're having, which
it's
is
called Drop 10
10.
Media Network.
Yeah, so you can actually check that out. We have some podcasts, one from Florida, Jive Turkey from Florida, a lot of local also.
Yeah, we had
comics.
Nerds Words on there. We had Jive Turkey, Slapstick Sports, Jazz Cabbage. Neil and Tom have a podcast on there called Popular Opinions, Magical Misery Tour. We have a lot of podcasts. We're always adding more.
Nice.
But nerdswordspodcast.com for all that stuff.
Stores, dates, details,
All of
all
our
the-
tickets. We have, if you guys are in anyone listening is in the Pennsylvania area, sure. We have a show July 11th in Chalfont, Pennsylvania. It's about 30 minutes from Philly.
Yep.
We have a second show there August 1st in Chalfont, same place at the Pop In. Sure. Also outside of Philly. And then August 3rd at the Laboratory in Hatboro, also outside of Philly. 8:30 p.m. show. Tom Krullis is on that show. He's right next to us.
Yes,
yeah, again, there's wordpodcast.com for tickets, all that shit. At Adam Nutter for everything, and at I am Neil Wood for everything.
I am Neil Wood for all my stuff.
Yep.
Nice.
Well, guys, we had a wonderful conversation tonight. Thank you.
Yeah,
guys
thanks for
coming.
having us.
If
Super
we're ever
fun.
in Philly, we're coming.
Yes.
To your
Oh,
house.
you're coming to the studio. We're gonna
Yeah.
have a ball. You guys get drunk and high on that one.
No, they cannot. How dare they do that in our house? Please, you do have to kill a dog.
Okay.
I'm so
You
sorry.
do have to look at you raise
To
a
be
puppy.
part of your guys' podcast network, it requires one dead animal by hammer.
Your choice.
Yes.
I have.
You actually have to raise a puppy from
I'm
birth.
really sorry.
You have to raise it from birth. You have to fall
raise
in love with it.
and then murder it with your bare hands.
Absolutely.
On the podcast live.
I'm in.
And it's called the I Am Legend Challenge. Is that right?
I am legend.
Exactly. You guys get it.
Can you do it? Can you dig it?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Awesome stuff, guys. Well, thank you guys for coming on.
Thanks,
Thanks, man.
And thank everybody for listening to the Dan and Kody podcast. We love everybody and look forward to next week. It's after the 4th of July. You know, Dan and I did something weird.
Happy 4th of July.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye-bye.
Thanks for listening and laughing with the Dan and Kody podcast. Our email is danandcodypodcast@gmail.com. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We are on Instagram at Dan Kody Podcast. Check out our website, danandcody.com, and you can contribute to the podcast by going to patreon.com/Dan Kody Podcast.
Subscribe, bitch! Everybody play the tough guy to shit. Whoa, right.